Ranking the 10 Bitcoin ETFs from worst to best. Bitcoin ETFs have gained significant popularity since their release, with billions of dollars being traded within days of their launch. In the next few minutes, we will rank the 10 Bitcoin ETFs from worst to best based on their performance. We will also address some commonly asked questions about these ETFs and provide insights into their impact on Bitcoin's price. The performance of Bitcoin ETFs. On the first trading day, the Bitcoin ETFs generated $4.6 billion, making it the most popular ETF asset class of all time. However, Bitcoin's price did not experience a significant increase after the ETF's release. In fact, it dropped from $46,670 on January 10, 2024 to $42,645 on January 17, 2024. This can be attributed to trading volume, which represents both net inflows and outflows of money. The largest outflows came from the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, GBTC, which underwent a complex conversion process into a spot ETF, causing a shrinkage in the price gap between the ETF and Bitcoin. Ranking the ETFs. Based on the first 7 days' performance and expense ratios, we can rank the Bitcoin ETFs from worst to best. 10th. DEFI. This ETF lost over 15% and had a high expense ratio of 0.9%. 9th. IBIT, with a loss of 12.6%. This BlackRock ETF was the first Bitcoin ETF to cross the $1 billion threshold in inflows and had an expense ratio of 0.25%. 8th. BITB. It lost 8.34% and had an expense ratio of 0.2%. 7th. FBTC. This Fidelity ETF lost 8.2% and had an expense ratio of 0.25%. 6th. ARKB. With a loss of 8.01%, this is the ETF Cathie Wood, of ARK Invest, started. It had an expense ratio of 0.21%. 5th. BRRR, it lost 7.88% and had an expense ratio of 0.25%. 4th. EasyBC, this ETF lost 7.85% and had an expense ratio of 0.29%. 3rd. HODL, with a loss of 7.73%, this ETF had an expense ratio of 0.25%. 2nd. BTCW, it also lost 7.73% and had an expense ratio of 0.3%. 1st. BTCO, this Invesco ETF had an expense ratio of 0.39% and lost 7.73%. Choosing the best ETF. Selecting the best Bitcoin ETF depends on individual preferences and risk tolerance. While BTCO had one of the lowest expense ratios and performed well, it is essential to consider factors such as the company's experience, regulatory compliance, and security measures. It is also worth noting that owning a Bitcoin ETF is not the same as owning actual Bitcoin, and some investors may prefer to self-custody their assets. Conclusion. Bitcoin ETFs have gained significant traction, with billions of dollars being traded within days of their release. However, their impact on Bitcoin's price may not always be straightforward. Ranking the ETFs based on performance and expense ratios can provide insights into their relative performance. Ultimately, the choice of the best ETF depends on individual preferences and considerations such as experience, regulatory compliance, and security measures.
As always, do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel, All Things Money, to see more content like this.